But at this point, if David would come up. Now, we do hope that this will be an annual award. We hope that there will be candidates, probably from this room, and candidates, commissioners, and elected officials and others that will vie for this award. This should be the Nobel Prize of biking and pedestrian spaces and green spaces in New York City. David, congratulations.
Transportation Alternatives. Thank you very much, Sam. I'd like to say many of the projects, as I've learned to say in Canada, are really as much Sam's as my own, and we were very much a team on virtually all those projects. So thanks, Sam. Thanks for my former colleagues at the Department of Transportation. It's wonderful to see you. I haven't seen some of you in a dozen years or more. Thanks to Transportation Alternatives for presenting the award. I'm very grateful, very touched, and honored to have it. I was just, Sam presented a very serious catalog of some of the things that we did in the late 70s and 80s in New York. But Sam had a much lighter side too, and sometimes we had to sit through some extremely boring meetings. And so I fetched from my files a quality of life program, and a retreat. Now, you practically the very word retreat reeks of phoniness. So I would tend to do doodles, and here you have my doodles were always of imaginary cities, and the cities on an island, and of course it shows the urbanized area and many parks, including a Central Park and lots of others, and of course a perfect transit system. In fact, it's entitled Island City with Perfect Transportation. And so I passed this over to Sam, and what does he do? He uses a very harsh pen to make the East Way go through this way, and the Crosstown Expressway go through this way, and of course he has a bridge to elsewhere. So, you see, he had to be tamed. We had to keep the traffic engineer in him quiet. And I wrote, we exchanged notes. I said, Sam, this speech is painfully pretentious. We were listening to somebody gas on about management. It was in September, actually, in 1985. And I write, at this point, I doubt if there are more than 3 people following this guy. Why are we here? We're here to support an industry of pseudopsychology that has retreats and seminars instead of real worker participation. 2, the catering industry. 3, the egos of the guys who arrange this. When can we safely leave? And Sam responds, obviously you're not paying attention. I'm one of the 3 guys. This is a non-sectarian, pre-Rosh Hashanah, and he wrote it in Hebrew because we're both yeshiva boys, sermon, and I only hope you'll be forgiven on Yom Kippur. So, anyway, that is another side of Sam that you had to sit next to him to know about. I'm really very grateful for this, and you know, it's a big change to going from being an activist, for example, in Transportation Alternatives, to being a city official. It's kind of like going from America to the Soviet Union. Because, you know, when you're an activist, you say what you want. When you're working for the mayor, the governor, the president, you don't exactly exactly say what you want. You know, you have to always look over your shoulder and make sure that you're saying what the boss wants you to say. So it's a little, you know, both keeping your, I was going to say virginity, or your ideals, and your job. It's a bit tricky. You know, you can always keep your job as an activist, but trying to balance those things within a city administration, well, I was lucky because for the most part, I didn't have any disagreements with the mayor. We did disagree on Westway and a few other things, however. By the way, the reference that, I knew Sam would bring up this alleged Talmudic reference, and I can't find it either. But I did find, actually, a quotation from the 18th century Irish-English satirist, Jonathan Swift. And he wrote, "Whoever could make 2 ears of corn or 2 blades of grass to grow upon a spot of ground where only one grew before would deserve better of mankind and do more essential service to his country than the whole race of politicians put together." So, I was told originally that the award was for championing transportation alternatives, and I thought, and that's a great name, but so is the name that it has been given. And again, I'm touched and gratified that you would name it after me. I can't think of two better words than transportation alternatives to sum up my goals as a city planner and the goals anyone concerned about the sanity of the city ought to have. We so badly need alternatives to those powerful instruments of city destruction that are parking lots and gas stations and drive-thrus. We need alternatives. We need alternatives to enormous highways and the suburbs that grow up around them, from where there's no destination that can be reached on foot. We need alternatives to a gasoline-soaked society that's changing our very climate and transforming the earth in scary ways.